On today's Community Wednesday, we'll be breaking down the RPD. The RPD was one of those weapons that was never really popular. There was a time where people were using it due to its extremely low recoil, but it was never really meta. But along with many other weapons, it has seen some changes. So let's see what it looks like now and how it compares to the meta. In this build, we'll be using the GRU suppressor, 20.3 inch task force barrel, axial arms 3x optic, Spetsnaz grip, and 120 round mags. So let's get straight into the stats, starting with mobility. It has an ADS time of 400 milliseconds, which is not really that great. Its reload and reload add times are 7.07 and 6.97 seconds, which is quite a lot. And I'm not entirely sure that 120 round mag is enough to make up for it. Its movement speed is 271.9 meters per minute, which is actually pretty impressive. But its sprint speed is only 325.5 meters per minute, which is extremely slow. And its ADS straight speed is among one of the slowest in the game. Its sprint out and tac sprint out times are 300 and 450 milliseconds, so don't try to sprint out with this. And its aiming stability is 2.5 T, which isn't the greatest for long range. Thankfully though, its bullet velocity is pretty great at 1,176 meters per second. And its rate of fire is at a pretty average 10.86 rounds per second or 652 rounds per minute. So it gets a mobility score of 25. Its recoil is really easy. It just goes straight up, no real side-to-side bouncing. But because of its aiming stability issues, it starts to suffer at longer ranges. And by longer ranges, I mean extreme ranges. Because of its aim sway, it just feels a bit inconsistent. Sometimes I'm able to use it to 185 meters. Sometimes I can barely get 150. But you should reliably use it up to 160, so it gets a recoil score of 48. Now for its damage. It has a drop off at 60 meters. Its headshot TTK is not going to be the greatest in the first damage range, but its upper torso, lower torso, and limb TTKs are going to be average. Just remember that you had to add 66.67 milliseconds for an open bolt delay. And in the second damage range, all the TTKs are going to be average as well. So this means that in the second damage range, it's going to feel like you're melting people really fast. And between 30 and 60 meters, assuming you're accounting for open bolt delay, you're going to be winning a lot of gunfights. Now what happens if you put one headshot into the mix? Well, if you hit 4 upper torso shots in the first damage range, you're going to be getting an above average and pretty great TTK. However, this means that 5 out of your 7 shots have to be precision shots, and this is not going to happen. And in the second damage range, it's the same thing. You need 6 upper torso shots, so 7 precision shots. And even though this weapon has pretty good recoil, that's not going to happen. But either way, it gets a damage score of 55. And when we add up all the categories, it gets a final score of 128. For a longer range weapon, this is a pretty good score, but its mobility is really suffering. I originally wanted to use the airborne elastic wrap to improve its stability and ADS time, but I found that it did not really affect the stability, or at least enough to bump it up a category. It would have helped the ADS time, but then its mag cap would have only been 75 and its reload speed would not have been that great. So I just decided to keep it as it is. This is a pretty good alternative to the Fin. The Fin has the best recoil in the game, but as we all know, it takes a whole second to down someone. So this is a pretty good compromise because you get pretty good TTKs and still great range. There's few weapons out there that can match the range and damage of the RPD. So if you like running LMGs in a squad, the RPD may actually be a great option. However, there's one thing you gotta know. You absolutely have to pair this with a sniper support weapon. You can't just get it with your ghost loadout and run it with a pistol because your mobility is gonna suffer heavily, and its TTK in the first damage range isn't the greatest, especially when you add the open bolt delay on top. So make sure you have a weapon that will take care of you under 30 meters. And it's something you should definitely not run in solos or even duos. The reload time is just way too long, and you're gonna get third partied. But in trios and quads, if you got teammates that are covering medium and extremely long ranges, then this actually may be a good pick. So as long as you understand the limitations, the RPD will be a great pick. If you start using it at longer ranges or to counter snipe, it's going to be even better. So that's the RPD. Have you tried it recently? And if so, what'd you think? And if there's any weapon, build, or part of the game you want me to break down, let me know. You may see it on the next Community Wednesday. If you enjoyed the video or if it's helped you in any way, let me know by leaving a like. If you got any questions or comments, leave them down in the comment section down below. And if you want to make sure that you never miss another video, be sure to subscribe. Thanks for watching.